Okay, Morai Rabotai, Chavirai, welcome to another Tuesday night shiur. This shiur was actually sponsored by three different souls. Actually, the first name we will put is Chake ben Brucha, Brucha bat Pitya, and also Duchtar bat Frecho. Okay, Ruach Hashem Dehan Bayanehem B'Choy Yisrael Shokrim Le'Eimahem B'Chni Yatzom V'Amar Amen. Okay, let's get into this week's parasha. What's this week's parasha? Who knows? I said it 5 seconds ago. Chukat, Parashat Chukat. It's known amongst the scholars that usually in Parashat Chukat, unfortunately, that's the beginning of the month of Tammuz. And Tammuz, as we know, starts the beginning of the 3 weeks. And it goes until the month of Av. And usually a person should refrain from doing things that are risky, dangerous, and so on and so forth. Why? You see, the summer months, they have a very powerful significance. When Esav, going deep now, when Esav found out that Yaakov Avinu snatched the berachot from him for being the firstborn, tears came out of his eyes. Why specifically the eyes? Why we specifically?
The witness to soul.
So it's known that Tammuz and Av are connected to the eyes, those months. Why? Because it's the summer months and the tava goes up and your eyes, window to your soul, right? The eyes see things that they're not supposed to on both parties. I want you guys to understand something. Unfortunately, people don't talk about this too much because, I don't know, they're scared or afraid. But the same way how a man has a tava for a woman, women also have tava for men. I want you guys to understand this. The difference is, excuse me, the difference is the aftermath for a man is much worse than for a woman. Why? Because he does something called shazal, shchvat zera batala. And a woman not necessarily does that, but she could actually be the one that gets the man to do that sin. So, zenu matzeh, don't think that they're free from it. They also have to do a certain rectification for provocativeness. Now again, you can choose to be whoever and however you want to be. We're not criticizing anyone, but know that as you get older, you also have to do tshuva for those things. Don't think you're off the hook. Now, why is this so important? What does it say in Shema? We say it every day, 3 times a day. You should not stray after your heart and after your eyes. Why? Shouldn't it say the opposite? After your eyes and then after your heart. So, I think the Or Chaim says this. Because when you see whatever you want to see. That's what it comes down to. If you want to see the positive and the good in someone, you'll see it. If you want to see the negative about someone, you'll see only the negative. Where does that come from? That comes from the lib, the heart. The heart is telling you, find favor in that person's eye. Or lehefech chas v'shalom. Oh, look at her. Oh, look at him. And that's it. How come the shidduch didn't work? 101 excuses. Why are you only looking at the negative? You're not perfect. You're far from perfect. Oh, if we would start the list, it would never end. No? Whatever happens in Israel stays in Israel, right? So, Lamaaseh, no, what are we doing? And it comes down, yes, please. It comes down to Lamaaseh, the end of the day, that if your heart wants it, your eyes will see it. Even though it's not there, it will see it. What does the Gemara say? En apatropos larayot. For the averot that have to do with sexuality, you can't say, "Oh, she's so old, Rabbi. You're a pervert." If the Gemara says that if a man in his 30s cannot be in a room with a woman in her 90s, the Gemara knows what it's talking about.
Doesn't make any sense.
It makes very much sense. When there's
Is it because
when there is a tava, a person can have a tava, a person can have a desire, and the Yetzer Hara can arouse in him for absolutely something that you would think is not normal, and you can do the avera. Even the person is 90 years old, you're saying that's abnormal. So you see it. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. Don't say no. In the world, what do you mean where? Not in outer space. You just maybe don't know of any stories because you live in a bubble. But in the outside world, yes?
Living in New York, living in a bubble?
You live in a gated bubble. You don't live in New York. You don't know what's going on in New York. Baruch Hashem. New York is a very dirty state. It's going to be even dirtier very soon. Very. They just had their parade, right? The rainbow parade, right? Where all the rainbow people are there.
I haven't Jerusalem too.
Forget that. We don't talk about that right now. It was canceled this year, Baruch Hashem. But you see this the parade. They just had it on I think Sunday in New York. You saw what happened after the parade. All the lichluch and garbage that they did. It was no civilized. It wasn't a civilized parade. It was a barbaric. Now that's going to seep into the outside of Manhattan. It's already hitting Brooklyn and Queens and all these different boroughs. That's problematic. Now you guys don't know about it because you live in a bubble. And as the generations get closer and closer and closer and more Americanized and more Americanized and more American, see, you guys are lucky. I tell you why. Most of us are first generation American. I'm assuming so, unless one of you are born in another country. What does that mean? You were still raised with somewhat of an iron fist. You knew if you did something wrong, you're gonna get clapped. You're not gonna do that to your kids. It's a fact. Does that make you weak? Does it make you strong? Well, I can talk about that. But the mitzvah, the reality is that you're not going to do half of the discipline that your parents did to you, you're not going to do to your kids.
What would be the problem here for the next generation?
So you asked a very good question. It's a very dangerous question, but I'll answer it for you.
To keep it in the bubble, you know?
No. That's the problem. The bubble is bad. Someone called me today. You want to hear something? He was discussing to me as in the lens of a bento, in the lens of someone that wants to be an observant Jew. Is it okay to live in Queens? Is Queens a lechatchila or is it a b'diavad? Is it something that you would want to do for your kids or you would not want to do? So there is no right or wrong answer, but this is what I told him very briefly. I said, if you think in communities outside of Queens, we take Williamsburg, we take Borough Park, we take Muncie, we take Flatbush, we take Lakewood. If you think everything is all dandy and nice over there, you don't just live in a bubble, you live in an illusion. There's problems in raising kids and having a normal Jewish Torah life in every community that you go. It might be even worse there than over here. Actually, it is worse. Why? Because they're so unexposed. The second they get exposed, they pop. And they become the worst of the worst. But over here, that you have some exposure, you could understand. This is bad, this is good. You know, there are certain standards. We do like this, and they don't do like that. It's only when you become unaccepted of the people around you. For example, Pesach. Everyone can relate on Pesach. Pesach, the whole family comes. Now, in this table that you have 1,000 different kind of people there. You only have 10 people there, but there are 1,000 kinds of people. Why? You have a guy there that keeps Torah mitzvot 100%. You have someone that's modern Orthodox. You have someone, he's traditional. His kids come with the phone. And you have someone that's just there just to be there because he has no choice. Because he knows if he's not going to come, they're going to tell him, where were you? He doesn't want to hear the nagging. that's something we have very, very much in our community. And I think that is actually a very big plus, not a minus. And I'll tell you why. Because if a father and mother can go to a table with all these kind of people, and he'll tell his son, listen, those people don't associate. We're only here because we have no choice. Automatically, what did you just teach your son? That they have something we don't have. And we don't accept that's something that they have and that we don't want to be part of. What do you build in a child? Curiosity. That child in his nature now wants to know, what is my father and mother talking about? If he's on his phone on Pesach, I don't see no lightning striking him. He's not dead. He's not dying. It's also a bad way of teaching your kids. If you do Chilul Shabbat, you're going to die. Relax. Calm down. Why are you teaching the kid things that he won't understand? There's schar ve'onish. There's punishment and reward. There's good and bad. Now, if you go to your son and you say, listen, John, my love, this is what it is. We have to love every single Jew for who they are and what they are. We have to understand that we should pray that they should want to come more closer to Torah mitzvot. And in your house, the Torah mitzvot is exciting. It's not patronizing. It's not all about putting the person down. It's all about uplifting. The child wouldn't want to go and stray away. Why? Because life is good at home. I'm good. I don't need something else to please or to bottle that tava that I have. Why? Because I'm content. I'm chilling. My life is great. My parents are open-minded. I can talk to them about any topic, which is the greatest thing in the world. I have my, a guy texted me on Instagram. He said, he was giving me a whole Megillah, this, that. He came to a conclusion that a big part of his understanding of his life was due to the fact that he couldn't open up to his own parents. In life, if you can't open up to your own parents, you miss the boat. You didn't raise good kids. The kids are good, but you didn't raise them enough that they should be close to you, which is a problem. You need your kid at the end of the day that he should come with any issue, with any problem, with anything that he has in his crazy mind, and say, Abba, I have to talk to you. I have a question. Can you explain this to me?
There's a certain amount of respect.
Even you say
like,
respectful.
No, but I tell you something like Rebbe, like.
No, you can tell your. Let's say someone has.
Studio.
Okay. I have a tava. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to stop jerking off.
Straight up.
Straight up. Yeah. If your father, he himself, is a guy that talks about it 24/7, then of course the kid's not going to go to him. This is Kiyam Hayenu or Hamenu. He says, this is my father's life. I was yesterday in a breed. I did a breed yesterday for someone. So I sat at the end for the Suda, and one guy was talking, elderly guy. He's like in his, he was 56. He's talking to me. He's like, wow, you're so relatable, even though you're so young. We're talking. And he said, I can just imagine how the beginning of your 20s and your teens were. Most probably you were a very bad boy. How many girls have you slept with in your life? And I looked at this. He's an elderly guy. I looked at him. I said, you want to know something? You believe me or not? I have pride on one thing. If I can have pride on one thing in my life, is that I was only with one person my whole life. That was my wife. He looked at me. He thought I was crazy. He said, you never enjoyed in your life. That's what he told me. I said, can I just tell you one thing? I said, yeah. I said, it's very sad you need 10 different women to please you. I, Baruch Hashem, have one wife that knows how to please me. And I promise to you, he was actually holding a joint in his hand. Yeah, how old was he? 56? Yeah. He dropped the joint from his hand. He's like, I never thought about that. I said, because you're so into different things, you forget to stop and experience that one thing and explore with that one person. When the spark ends, that's when the tava for others start. That's the problem. Because we're only thinking for the momentum pleasure, not the everlasting pleasure. Everlastingness means a unity of loyalty. If you don't have loyalty, you don't have anything. If you always have to look behind your back, then you know you're in a dangerous zone. That's a problem. So you have to ask yourself, what am I doing about it that I should be loyal and straight in my path and Avodat Hashem? I need to do. Regardless if you're a working man, if you're not, if you're it doesn't make a difference. Every excuse you're going to tell me, I'm going to brush it off. And I'll tell you why, because I have associates and friends, close friends, that are from this spectrum and from that spectrum. The most religious and the most non-religious, like anti-religious, Jewish. And I can sit with them on the table and we can have a good time and enjoy and talk even about Torah. Talk about God and have a good time. Why? Because at the end of the day, you have to be relatable. People run away when they start to feel that you're not relatable. I have no kesher with this person. He comes from a different world. He's not with it. So to say, I always have to blend in. So I work in this kind of environment, so I have to be like a thug now. I have to steal. No, you don't. No, that's an option that you're going. That's fully on you. But I'm not making it like they're making it. So that's another issue. It means you have to work on a different issue. But now to say I need to blend in, blending in means being you. That's real blending in. You being you, but doing what you gotta do. If you want to be a copycat, then what's the point of you in this world? You're not doing your tachlit. The point is that you're different. It's good. It's called originality. It's called being you. What's your question?
How? But they tell us to fit in. We got them 3 times a day. Learn, do all the standard things that every Jew would do. What do you mean by stand out and fit on, not be the same person? They tell us to do the same thing to be a good Jew, right? Be Neved Hashem and all that stuff. But
All that
saying,
stuff.
Yeah, I'm saying if we're going to state all this stuff, we're going to be here all night. I'm saying you say to stick out, to be different, and do your own thing.
I'm not saying to stick out for a second. I'm saying don't put yourself. If you're in a situation that you feel in order to be accepted, you have to be a copycat, that's a problem. That's not you. You're ruining yourself.
Fake it till you make it.
No. Because then you're not making it, you're just faking it.
What? You become it already.
No, you're faking it. The whole process is a lie.
Should be the,
But
Is that why people
a
lose
lot of
when
people
they
won't
come back
become
to
religious
America?
then.
Religious?
A lot of people won't, because look, right whenever you're like faking it away, it starts to become you.
That's
Is
not
that why
them.
people lose when they come into
But it's
America?
not them.
Why is that? So then a lot of people won't be that.
They have to
If it's not
change.
them, then
So I'll answer
that's
you.
not me. Okay, I'm not religious. I don't need it.
No.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds
No.
like
That's, no. You see,
It's not
you
me.
see that. You know what the problem is here? You're looking at it in the negative way.
No, it's not negative.
Listen
It's
to
just-
me. Listen to me. The reason why people get dull about Torah and Mitzvot is because the way it was introduced to them.
Okay.
Everyone is obligated to keep Torah Mitzvot to its fullest. That's not the question here. The question is, how was it presented to you? Was it presented to you b'koach, with a force and with a very dark view, or was it not accepted that way? You don't resent the Torah. Why? Because you always go back to it, regardless if you end up being religious or not. Everyone goes back to it. If not physically, mentally, if not mentally, spiritually, everyone goes back to it. They relate to God all the time. The most non-religious person is he's more closer to God than the most religious person.
yeah, but it's not. It's not
Because,
Torah, it's God.
well, wait, I'm
Then
sorry.
it should
Oh,
be-
no, it's not. Oh, no, it's not. I'll explain to
Yeah, it
you.
is.
I'll explain to you why. No, it's not. Most people are upset how it was introduced to them. So they're upset about the process, not about the thing. So what is a smart person going to do? He's going to find someone that he can relate to, or she can relate to, that will give it to them, will give it down to them in a relatable way. That's exactly what you have to do. You don't have to be a copycat. You have to submit to HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
You're saying find a crowd that you fit in.
Find a teacher that fits you. You don't need a crowd.
So it's Torah.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need a rabbi that you know, you can be open, he's not judgmental, he'll give me advice for me, not for him. That's the key, actually. But that's already on the rabbi's part, not on the Talmud's part. So that's what you have to understand. I'm not telling you to fit in to be a robot. Chas v'chalila, I'm very against that.
How do you find that out today?
Well, that depends on you. You have to search.
There's a lot of, I would say there's a lot of rabbis that don't do it for the person himself, they do it for themselves.
I know. That's exactly why I just said what I said. I said you have to find someone that's doing it for you more than he's doing it for him. You shouldn't be doing it for him. You should do it for you. Right? I know a school in this area that if the kid doesn't do what the Rebbe says, he excommunicates them. He doesn't talk to them. This is nonsense. This is stupidity. This has no continuation. This is not Torah. Right? This is not Torah. We don't do stuff like that. You have to keep Torah mitzvot, but you have to find someone that you can relate to. That's the way it is. You can't now put down the whole religion and the whole everything because it wasn't given to me proper. I'm going to say a very bold statement, but I don't know if people will agree with me. I don't think all Muslims are terrorists. I think the world judges them very inappropriately. That's my opinion. You can argue against me from today till tomorrow. I don't care. I have friends that are Muslims. There are very nice Muslims out there. Now, because one idiot did something stupid, you're going to put them all in one package? Absolutely not. Even though we have like this eternal kind of fight with them, that doesn't mean now they belong all in the same boat. I don't believe in that way. So you have to do the same thing to yourself. Not everyone that teaches Torah is wicked. This one apparently I didn't connect to. Okay, I have to find my own way. The Gemara says that a person doesn't learn that Ella, whatever his heart desires to learn. You need to have a desire in order to want it, and then you will learn. If not, you're not gonna progress. Good? Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah. It's left field a little bit.
It's okay. We like the left.
No problem. On self-esteem.
Especially if you're wearing shorts. Go ahead.
What does that have to do with anything?
Nothing. I like the left.
Robbie, what about self-esteem? I asked you this the other day. You texted me, I wanted to...
What about self-esteem?
I wanted to say, I'm like, how do you work on self-esteem if someone has an issue or needs to work on it? He always wants, like, let's just say someone wants to be successful, but he always wants to be humble. But on self-esteem, sometimes, you go, yo, why is this guy talking out to me? Like that. My self-esteem
That's
is
your
hurt.
answer. You just answered your own question.
Why did I answer the question?
You just answered your own question.
I'm telling you how you change it, how you work on it.
The fact that you care about other people's opinion, that's why you have a self-esteem issue.
But I'm saying how you work on it. I'm not asking you what is
You have to
self-esteem.
stop caring what other people say. Just like that. Their opinion doesn't matter. You heard what I just told you? If you can work on that, you'll have no self-esteem issue. Their opinion doesn't matter. And I'm telling you, I know this firsthand. You see, growing up in your knuckles are, whose knuckles are bigger, yours or his? Okay. Let's focus here. Let's read the shiur now. Read the palms later. Listen. There's something growing up in a immigrant house. It's always about what? How you're gonna represent the family.
Reputation.
You can't do anything wrong. What is the neighbor gonna say? You can't do anything wrong. Who's gonna marry you? You can't do anything wrong. What are you gonna be in life? What kind of kids did I raise? It's all about who? Somebody else. It's never about the actual child. That's the problem. Why all big majority have a self-esteem issue. It's either they have a self-esteem issue which their ego is too high because they actually achieved everything their parents wanted them to achieve, so their ego is from here to the heaven, or it's the exact opposite. They didn't achieve because they're not fit for what they were supposed to be, now they feel like failures in the back of the brain. So how do you make sure that doesn't affect you? You have to stop caring about what people say. When you allow another person to determine how you think and how you feel, you're living his life, you're not living your own life. Because right now he's controlling the way you feel. Oh, what a sucker. Imagine living 80 years based on how other people make you feel. So ridiculous. You'll wake up one day when you're 80 and say, wow, I was such a durak. I was so stupid. I lived everyone else's life how they wanted me to live, but I didn't live. I didn't live. That's sad. That's really sad. That's the answer. Is it work? Yes. Is it every day? Is it come overnight? No. But at the end of the day, there needs to be a point that you're just going to clock out. You have to say, I don't care. I'm doing what I got to do. I got to do it proper. And that's it.
I mean, burn inside sometimes. Someone puts you down, they think they're slow, you know?
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're 100%. Not only does it burn, the most saddest thing is, usually it's the people that are the most closest to you that do it to you. It hurts even more. Wife, kids, father, mother, best friends, first cousins. Hurts more. Uncles, aunts. Hurts the most. Gotta ignore it. You can't allow it to enter your ear.
Parents also?
If they do, yeah, even parents. Now, let's understand what that means. If a parent is guiding his kid based on how he wants to feel, not based on how the kid, or for the benefit of the kid, that's a big, big problem. You can't do that. That's a huge issue. Huge issue. You can't do that. That's not called raising normal kids. It's not proper. It's not right on his behalf. Now, if the father, what does the Gemara say? The halacha paskins. The kid says, I want to learn in yeshiva. The parents say no. The kid doesn't have to listen to his parents. He can go and learn Torah. If a kid wants to marry a certain woman and the parents don't agree, why? Let's say she keeps Torah mitzvah, but they just don't like her. They don't like her. They want him to marry someone else. She's more modern. She more is related to the family. He doesn't have to listen. He doesn't have to listen. Simple.
What if it's a girl's parents that don't want the guy?
It doesn't make a difference.
Also?
Yeah.
Well, how if it doesn't work out and they hate you with I told you so. You never listen and they just do it.
Okay. Then they really didn't want.
Would you say like nowadays it's so hard to raise kids that no matter how much you try, it ultimately comes down to what kind of kid Hashem wants you to get?
No.
Because I'm saying you can go and you can do
Yes.
everything.
Oh, okay. So you
You can
can.
start a whole
You
video.
can go ahead, you can do the best you can, but there's so much.
So it's not hard to raise kids. It's hard to accept kids. You can ask. There's an elderly man here, right? When he was getting raised as a child, there was no what he said. He happened to come down to this world, and it's whatever his parents decided. Now there was a huge transition from his generation to now generation. What's the transition? From a person that always understood that the kids have to be subservient to the parents, and you live in a day and age that it's not like that. Unfortunately, but also fortunately, the understanding of the mentality of raising a child is totally different. You know what's the only fine line that can connect you? Is this.
How would you approach it though?
Because if you raise your kids by the guidelines of the Torah, regardless, he's gonna at the end of the day he's gonna turn out with their Torah mitzvah. Now you're gonna ask me, but you see families, Torah mitzvah, blah blah blah. You're gonna give me the whole 9 yards. Do you know what happened in their personal private house? You don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, but that goes back to my whole point. It's impossible to react in a certain way. Like, you don't know if this reaction, you think it's good, it turns out it's not good. You think you're doing the right thing, but it turns out, oh, something from the outside came in.
Correct.
And then, like, I'm saying you can do your best, but
Correct.
At the end of the day, if I should-
Ultimately, at the end of the day, if the kid has a certain path he has to go to, he'll go to it. The question is, will he come back to it? You know when he comes back? If he knows there's somewhere to come back to. Why is it in the religious world by the Ashkenazim it's much worse than by the Sephardim? One reason. Because by them, when they're out for good. By us, if they're out, they're just detouring.
Why do you think that is?
Because
I know, I've seen it. It's crazy.
because they're more begvura, they're more the parents. They're more begvura, meaning it's their structure of life is very robotic. Ours is very not robotic.
It was always like
You don't think ours is going to become like that?
Yeah.
It is becoming
more
like
American,
that.
so it's just like them.
I know, so that's why I'm here to tell you don't forget your roots.
You think because Sephardi are more like, how would you call it? More tough.
We're more spiritual. That's my answer. In nature, we're more spiritual. That's why I say the Baal Shem Tov saved Ashkenaz Jewry. He saved them. Why? Because he taught them there's more than just being a robot. You have a soul. You have to activate it. What the Ama'aret Sephardi had in Yirat Shamayim, the Ama'aret Sephardi, what he had in Yirat Shamayim, I don't know if we can say if regular Pashtanim had that by the Ashkenazim. Where did all this reform and all these movements come from? It came from the Ashkenazim, they didn't come from the Sephardim. What were we? We were still simple people. We were still cutting hair with the sheep skin cutter, right? They over there already becoming a lawyer and doctors. And again, we need to all be integrated. No one's now saying one's better, one's not better. I'm saying the mindset is totally different. The mindset, someone sent me a video yesterday of an Ashkenaz guy. I think he's 28 or 26, full of tats from head to toe. He has those big goth piercing, everything, the whole 9 yards. And he was giving a small class, and his parents were there. And he said, the reason why I came back to Torah Mitzvot was because I knew my parents would always take me back. Every kid could go on their journey of life. Every kid does go through it. But if they know there's always somewhere to go back to, they'll always go back. Because everyone at the end of the day misses the heat of the father and the mother, the love of the house, the delicious food that the mother makes. If she's Faradiya, right? I'm just joking, right? Everyone understands this, right? So too does a child have to feel the same way. But if you come home from school and the kid is always getting patronized, you got to F on your test. I can swear to you, I don't think I ever passed any of my tests in my life. From the beginning, and at least in the from the beginning of time until the end of high school. I never cared for it. Never. No one cared for it. It was all about just like finishing through the years and calling it a day. And all of us came out normal. Nowadays, all the parents are fighting about what's your grades. And all the kids are coming out like, what? Rainbow flags.
So you're saying all the stuff that...
I'm saying whatever we think is the Ikar is not really the Ikar.
What is it?
The Ikar is having a connection with that child. The Ikar is not the grades. Who cares? Who cares if he knows how? You know what AI is, my friend? I know doctors that use AI. Do you know that? It's scary. But if a kid doesn't know multiplication, what are you putting him down, telling him he's a piece of nothing? Why? Well, for what? What are you gaining? You're not gaining nothing. But I want him to be smart. He's not going to be smart by knowing multiplication table. He's going to just know how to memorize. Does that make you smart? Well, you know what makes you smart? Critical thinking, Gemara. That's what makes you smart. Because that one makes you use your head. To come and say, oh, because, and then, no, who cares? Ugh. I take out one of my kids from one of the most grand schools because educational-wise she wasn't to par. I sent her to a different school. She's chilling. I tell my wife, better for her to always have fun than to be in a box and be miserable for the rest of her life. Okay, so she won't have the best education. Who cares? She'll be healthy, but nafshi, she'll be healthy. That's what you need. You need healthy people. Who do we learn this from? Who? Especially this week's parasha.
Yoshua?
Yoshua was not mentioned in this week's parasha. Who passes away in this week's parasha? Does anyone know? Haron. You see, everyone thinks the ultimate midah, the one that we all have to reach, is ahava. It's wrong. It's not true. You know what the ultimate midah is? Shalom. Peace. Not just peace between husband and wife. That's a low level of peace. Peace between your heart and your brain. Mental peace. People they never reach that. They just don't know what that means to be in peace with God and the universe. If you can, that's what he was fighting about. That's exactly what Aaron was fighting about from the beginning of time. He cared that you have to look at one quality: peace, smoothness. Reality of life is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but only if it's introduced to you through peace. Not through love. Love can be broken at the end of the day. Peace can never be broken. Because when you're in peace with yourself, you're in peace with the world.
How do you differentiate love and peace?
How do you differentiate? Okay, let's break it down. What's ahava? Ahava is a feeling that you have towards something or somebody, and it starts with a condition. Starts with a condition. And you have to work your way up that you should start to love without that condition. Peace, there is no condition. Peace comes from unification. Being unison with your own self. That's it. When you asked me about what you just did, which was my self-esteem, how do I work on the self-esteem? Because you're too busy living someone else's life. You're not at peace with yourself. So you start to care. You know when you become a dangerous person?
You don't care.
When you stop caring. You become so dangerous mentally and physically because no matter what happens to you, nothing can budge you.
Can you be at peace and still fear?
Can you be at peace and still fear?
Because you have to love and fear Hashem.
Okay, so you have to you asked a good question, but it has to be broken down. Fearing Hashem because you're scared of onesh, you're scared of punishment, is a very low level of serving Hashem. The goal is to take that feeling of being scared of God and hopefully by the age of 10 and 11 to transform it into not disappointing God. It becomes a respect relationship. It's only once you're at the age of 20, 21, does real love start to tingle into the feet of a man to love Hashem. Why? Because at this point you're not doing it because you're forced, you're not doing it because you're not forced, but you're doing it because now you feel a sense of a connection. That automatically is different. Now, in love there's also different stages. But if you're in peace, you're not afraid. Because peace means ultimately everything is in the hands of God. And once you can master that everything is in the hands of God, there is no fear. And that's called being in peace.
So do we still have to fear if we have that love?
Yeah, because you're not feared because you're scared of punishment. The fear is coming because I'm so connected. My love is so attached to Him that I don't want to disappoint Him. If someone says they just love, they don't love. Because you can't love without having fear. It's impossible. It's not love. It's selfishness.
You're saying if you love a girl, you fear her too?
If you're disappointed.
No.
You said you can't love.
No,
without
you don't fear from. No, the fear is not out of strach, like you're scared of her.
Yeah.
The fear is you don't want to disappoint her. A true husband never wants to disappoint his wife. A real man can still be a man and show that he's a man, but always in the back of his head, he never wants to disappoint her.
But it still has to be tough sometimes.
There needs to be the law of the house, which is the Torah mitzvot. But that has nothing to do with what we're talking about now. Anyone says they love and there is no fear, they don't love. It's not love. There's steps, to a ladder. You can't get to the 10th step if you didn't go to the first 2 steps. And this is where America got it wrong. America said it's all about love. Love has to be created on something. What's the koach gavra of love? Huh? Fear.
What kind of fear exactly?
I just explained it. I should explain it again. I don't mind. I'll do it again.
Sorry, yeah, you go.
You're forgetting, so I'll remind you. There's 2 levels of fear. There's fear of onesh and fear of disappointment. It's called awness. Right? Give you an example. Principal walks in to the room. Well, maybe not in your school, but let's say, I'll give you an example, right? If the principal walks into your classroom and you have your phone there, and you're not supposed to have your phone, what are you afraid of right now?
Take it away.
Yeah, you're afraid of what? But what are you afraid of?
Take it away.
What's that called?
The honest.
You're afraid of the punishment. Right? But let's say right now, you're going into a big Talmid Chacham. You have fear.
Yeah.
There's a certain fear a person gets. Is that fear because you're scared he's going to smack you? Or is that fear because out of respect you have right now, you know you have to act different?
Honestly, for you, a little bit of both.
Forget about me right now. You're saying shtuyot now. I asked you a simple question. Where is that fear coming from? Exactly. You have that fear of, I have to respect. I can't be out of line. I can't be a no-shoot. Right? And after you have that, you can grow the love. You'll never be able to love your principal because you're always scared of his fear, of his pain. But elamai that Talmid Chacham, you could be able to love him. Why? Because that fear and respect that you have grows into love. So when the whole world is just talking about you have to be afraid that you're going to get punished, what are they actually teaching? What is the whole world learning? To be a little kid for the rest of your life. And that's why they don't grow. They don't have a connection to God because their whole basis is just fear of punishment. It's not fear of disappointment. And that was the koach of Aaron HaKohen. He knew how to bring the ultimate peace down to the whole family. Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead.
So when raising your kid,
Yeah.
what is the age gap between you said fear be'onesh, you said? And you said fear of the other one was
Usually by the age of 10, 11.
They don't know what honest is.
They do know. You don't go to sleep, you're gonna get it from me. That's onesh.
That's ownership from you, not from Hashem.
Now forget Hashem right now. They'll never understand Hashem until they don't understand this.
so after saying not after the age of onesh, after the age of 10.
No, usually nowadays, even back in the days, 10, 11 is already when the kid's already somewhat of a bardat. He's exposed. He knows. He's not an idiot, right? Already by that age, you can't already hit your kids at that age. You can't. The Gemara says, in front of a blind person, you can't put a stumbling block. Also, then you have these primitive fathers. You're my son. I can hit you till I'm 30. Till you're 30 years old. You can't. It's a Isur Torah. You're not allowed to. You're also not allowed to fight him back if he does do that. But he's not allowed to do that. I have to discipline my kid. If your kid is 30, you still have to hit him. You failed. I'm sorry. You failed. I'm sorry to break it to you. It didn't work for 30 years. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you that much of a shoteh?
When a person that just has anger issues go.
Did it
Yes.
ever work? Did it ever work? Being a kid?
It used to work. It doesn't work anymore. It used to work. Until what? Until last generation it used to work. Father used to walk in there, every kid used to pee in their pants. Father walked into the house. Oh my God. Oh my God. I remember. But you want to know why that used to work? I'm going to pop everyone's bubble. You know why that way used to work? Because the mother used to say, your father's about to walk into the house.
Now it wasn't there.
Now when the mother says, Krachabor Papa's coming into the house, what does the kid say in his brain? He's a nothing. That's when you lost the whole family. But if the mother is smart and says, ooh, wait till Abba gets home. Why? Even now. Automatically, what does the kid have? Oh my God, my father's coming. I can't mess up. Or you're traumatizing the kid. Trust me. Remember one thing, trauma to that person will happen regardless. Either he'll have so much trauma he'll become a rainbow person, or he's going to be traumatized and he'll know that he has to be serving Hashem and to come closer to God. It's going to happen. You can never get away from it. Anything you'll do, there's always going to be something. Why? Because that's your avoided. That's how you get closer to Hashem. So you got to go through it. I'm never going to do this to my kids. You're an idiot. This is American mentality, stupid mentality. That's why each person has a kid and 3 dogs.
What?
Americans have 1 kid and 3 dogs. They don't want to hurt the kids' feelings, so they buy dogs. They pet the dog all day. It's a disaster. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You speak like this about Ashkenazim. Would you say it's bad to marry Ashkenazi?
Chas
people
v'shalom. Why should it be bad?
if you're foreign?
So what? Even if you're Persian,
You're
Moroccan.
saying that they started all this like reform stuff and like this
So
and
what?
that.
So what? What's the problem? What's the problem with marrying Ashkenazim?
You make it sound bad.
I never said it's bad. Don't marry a reform Ashkenaz. Yes, that's bad. It's not Ashkenaz. Oh, you're already American. There's a bit of a different. Your kids will have no problem.
Nah, it's still different. Like, we
Different
can't marry
culture.
5-town girl. That's like.
It's different culture, yeah.
No, you're saying that because you understand you don't want those kind of girls. You didn't say you didn't say a culture. You said a region right now. It's totally different. Foreigners that live right, but it's Sfaradiot that live in that area that you wouldn't want, regardless if they're Ashkenazi or not. Would you want them? Yes or no?
Not the Ashkenaz.
No. So it has nothing to do with being Sephardi Ashkenazi. You don't want a modern Orthodox. You don't want a modern Orthodox girl. That's basically what you're saying. So that's it. Has nothing to do with Sephardi or Ashkenaz. Now you bringing segregation, not me. Don't say that. Sephardim can marry Ashkenaziot. It's not a problem whatsoever. Absolutely not. But you have to understand there are certain challenges, cultural challenges. There's cultural differences. It's just what it is. If you can be like a chameleon, you know how to blend in. If you have that personality that you're good with everyone, then it could work out very well. But if you're hard-headed, then it's not going to work. Because you have to understand, automatically there's 2 different worlds colliding. What's so difficult to understand? I have this conversation with my wife all the time. All the time. My kids are going to say tomorrow they want to marry Ashkenaziot, or they're going to want to marry outside of our culture, let's say Moroccan or I don't know, Tunisian, whatever is there. Would we agree or not? There's a conversation we have. Ultimately, at the end of the day, ultimately, of course. You would want your own because you know how to blend in with the culture, but at the end of the day, if that's not what Hashem wants, well, I should deprive my kid from his destiny due to the fact of how I feel. Of course, if there's issues, underlying issues, yes, we're not talking about that. But Elamai, in the same time, you have to be realistic. You can't live under a rock.
It's all one.
It's all one. That's why I love Yerushalayim. I love Yerushalayim and Tzfat. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing there. Everyone is accepted. Everyone is everyone. They don't ask you, you have this kind of stramal, you have this kind of hat, you have this kind of hair, you have this kind. Nah, we need a minyan. Everyone's together. Everyone. All Charedi, all Chilayini, 50-50. They're all in the kotel. They're all. I love it. It's delicious. It's delicious. That's real Torah mitzvot. That's real being subservient to God. Not this segregation. Segregation actually came, unfortunately, from the Europeans. Why? Because they are very into being part of a certain group. We never had such a thing like that. Never. It's a European thing. It has nothing to do with being Ashkenaz. Europe, the mentality of Europeans is like that. Look at the whole history of Europe. It's all about sects, fighting and killing each other from the beginning of time. We never had stuff like that. Even by the Muslims, they don't have it. Besides the two different cults, religion, whatever they want to call themselves.
Did the evolution of the kippah come from the Europeans?
The evolution of the kippah, no, it was before even the Europeans. During the Gemara, it came before. It came from Yamaka means Yore Malka. There's another word to it. To have fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to always remind you there's someone on top of you. That's why we wear a kippah.
That's something we made, right?
It's something that the Talmidei Chachamim established. Yes. Always have. You know, by Sfaradiyot, we're going to finish with this. Girls used to also cover their hair when they were not married.
What happened?
What happened? They came to America.
Oh, really? Is this so good to follow?
No, we don't do stuff. We don't do it anymore. But they used to cover their hair, and you can look at all the old pictures. They used to wear a hat. Their hair would be showing. They would usually braid their hair. Their hair would be showing, but they would wear a hat. And when they would get married, they would wear a double. They would wear that hat, and then they would wear a veil or a scarf. That's our minhag, really. They would also have a double head covering. That's the way it was. You could be religious. You weren't religious. Everyone dressed like that. Understand? Yeah, Bukharians, Afghanis, Persians, Moroccans. What's it called? Iraqis. We're all one. We're all from one group. We're all one people. That whole region is one people. It just got broken down through the different galuyot that they had no choice. They had to put blockages. But we were all connected. We were all connected. That whole diaspora was connected. There was, for years, we used to talk. There were letters sent. Then, unfortunately, through different kingdoms, they made separations. That's why our languages are even very similar. Our customs are very similar. That's it? No more questions? You had one, no? Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, to circle back to what you said earlier, you said that a person has to learn what his heart desires. In the yeshiva world, as we
No, it's not like that. It's not like that.
Yeah.
I'll explain to you a little bit what the difference. When someone is in the yeshiva system, yeah, go ahead.
No, it's just like the rabbis preach like Gemara, and many times a person only understands and gets a love of it after many, many years of toiling in it. But many people don't get to that many years of it, so they can't appreciate it, and they don't love it, and then they just drop it, and then they don't have something that they cling to it. So why do the yeshivot push that?
Because usually when you're in a yeshiva system, it means you're doing it out of your own will to be part of the system. When you're not in the system, usually you don't have this issue. Why? Because of course if you're learning yourself, if you have a chavutah, you're going to pick something that you desire. Now let's say you're in the yeshiva system but you're about to fall. They asked this question to the stipler. I have his books in my house. The kid should learn whatever he desires. As long as he has the kli. You can't now say, I want to learn Kabbalah all day. It doesn't go this way. First of all, the Kabbalah you think is Kabbalah, it's not Kabbalah. Kabbalah is harder than Gemara. I want you guys to know that. Real Concord, Etz Chaim, is way harder. It's like learning microphysics. Microchem. It's hard stuff. Problem is, no one teaches it that way. Why? Because it's not going to attract anyone to learn it. So what do they teach you? Energy. You connect here, you connect there, you fly in the air, meditation. That's not Kabbalah. It's not Kabbalah. That's sub from Torah Ta'ari. Torah Ta'ari is hardcore things. the whole, you don't need to learn about the whole structure of how the world was created. That's Torah Tasod. That's what it is. That's the ultimate learning. Because if you know why and how He created the world, you'll understand the identity of God to some level. To some level.
Robert, do you learn Kabbalah like that, or?
I don't learn Kabbalah. Any other questions? Anyone have questions? That's it? Okay, Rabotai, thank you and have a good night.